Twin-stick shooters have been enjoying a renaissance period as of late. The cubic destruction that featured heavily in the fabulous PlayStation 4 exclusive Resogun kicked off the next gen with all the spectacle and pizzazz that we've come to expect from a AAA title. Other games like Nano Assault Neo for Wii U, Halo Spartan Assault for Xbox One, and Lara Croft and the Temple of Osiris have continued to fly the banner for the genre that relies almost exclusively on our opposable thumbs. But there's been one notable absentee from the twin-stick shooting space thus far: Geometry Wars. The series began life as a minigame experience inside Project Gotham Racing 2's in-game garage, and the full game, Geometry Wars Retro Evolved, went on to become one of the most downloaded Xbox Live titles on the Xbox 360. So this is a series with real pedigree. The pressure is on, then, for Geometry Wars 3 Dimensions to defend its title and, perhaps more importantly, reaffirm its position as the twin-stick shooter to beat. Thankfully, the fundamental mechanics of the series remain intact. You're tasked with navigating a highly maneuverable ship or shape around an enclosed space while avoiding contact with the sharp-angled enemies who menacingly patrol the area. You can fire and aim in multiple directions to fend off incoming foes who drop geomes, small diamond-shaped score multipliers. If you want to maximize your score, then picking up the time-sensitive geomes is crucial to your success. And yes, it definitely is not as simple as it sounds. Dimensions mixes up the series' signature brand of neon-lit entertainment by introducing a third dimension to proceedings. Geometry Wars Retro Evolved and Retro Evolved 2 were strictly 2D affairs. It's an understated change on paper, but the space the new 3D levels provide to skittishly flit your spacecraft around while avoiding the cavalcade of nasties is welcomed. The game is now more reminiscent of developer Housemarque's PS3 game Super Stardust HD, but Dimensions doesn't have to rely on one large spherical shape for its playground. Instead, the game manages to make each level feel exciting and challenging by offering up a bevy of different shapes. Even though there's technically more room to maneuver and evade, the enemies can now appear from almost any angle. When you're zipping across a baby blue cylinder away from enemies advancing on your right, it's almost guaranteed you'll bump into a crowd of shifting shapes lying wait behind the cylinder. Kaboom! For that reason, Dimensions can be daunting to new players. Learning when to move and where is obviously a skill that takes time to learn. But when you factor in the insatiable lust that a scattering of geoms can create, showing some self-restraint is easier said than done. We found ourselves succumbing to geom greed on numerous occasions, and we regret nothing. Dimensions' core campaign, Adventure Mode, is baptism by fire in many ways. Levels task you with achieving a certain score, defeating bosses, or simply surviving. Each level has 3 stars up for grabs, but obtaining the best rating can be a hair-tearing affair. You can't just settle for the minimum either, as you'll need to accumulate a certain amount of stars to advance to the next area. Light relief comes in the form of ship upgrades, which ultimately aid players in achieving better scores and subsequently more stars. There's upgrades for shields, weapons, and various other perks. But it sort of felt like a cheap, repetitive solution as we returned to levels we had previously scraped through with new abilities that made it far easier the second time around. Luckily, players who find the core campaign too tiresome can revel in Dimensions' impressive collection of other modes. You got your local co-op, online competitive multiplayer, and classic mode, which features all the existing modes from Retro Evolved 2. Basically, you'll be hard-pressed not to find something to sink your teeth into. Once the levels increase in difficulty and the map becomes considerably rammed with enemies, blinking becomes a redundant bodily function. Of course, when your eyes are taking in a rainbow of eye-wateringly vibrant neon colors and more sparks than an angle grinder pressed against a nightclub performer's metallic crotch, it's inevitable that closing your eyes even for a split second becomes moot, really. That being said, Dimensions is a terrific visual spectacle, buoyed by a thumping electronic soundtrack, and the game runs super smooth. Geometry Wars 3 Dimensions is another flashbang of geom-grabbing goodness, and further cements the series' reputation as a terrific twin-stick shooter. Your eyes won't thank you, but your heart will, as Dimensions has all the right moves that make it worthy of praise.